What's going on, Slay Baes? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm gonna be trying out your Holy Grail makeup splurges. Before I say anything, like, y'all got money, honey, because a lot of these products that you guys actually recommended to me were a little bit up there in price point. Like, you kind of broke the bank a little bit. I was able to create a look like this. It's smoky, it's sultry, it's sexy. Y'all know everything I look for in a full glam makeup look. Before we begin, I do want you guys to know that a portion of today's video is being sponsored by Nordstrom, which is so surreal and crazy to say out loud because I absolutely love Nordstrom and they have a killer beauty section. Yeah, all of those brands can be found in Nordstrom. You're actually gonna have to wait and see which brands I actually included from Nordstrom to create this look. So subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already. Click that bell. And without further ado, I'm gonna stop rambling so that way we can get started on the look. Let's go. Well, hello there. Welcome to my face, super up close and personal. But let's actually start off with primer. I already have my brows done. Also put on a little bit of sunscreen. You guys know I love this one right here by MD. It is the UV Elements Broad Spectrum SPF 44. It also is tinted, so it gives my skin just a little bit of coverage, really kind of combats the redness, and it just gives me a really flawless base. I really love to use this on those days where I'm just like running out the door and I don't want to put on makeup. But I'm gonna put makeup over this today because I'm going to be testing out your Holy Grail makeup splurges. Super, super excited. Spent a pretty penny on the products for this video, but in my mind, it's gonna be worth it because I get to sit down and really try out products that you guys love. You know what I mean? So let's start off with primer. There were two primers that kept coming up over and over again. The first one being Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. This is a Holy Grail for me. I really, really love this primer here. As you can see, I put a pretty big dent on it. But another one that kept coming up was this one right here by Bobbi Brown. This is the Vitamin Enrich Face Base. It says it is an all-in-one makeup primer and moisturizer. I have never before tried this. I know that this is a staple in a lot of people's makeup collection. So I'm going to use this one over the one from Tatcha simply because it is a new product for me. I have never tried this before and I really want to see what it's all about. It comes in a jar like this. This is a 1.7 ounce jar. I did pick this one up at Nordstrom and we're going to see what it's all about. It has a little cap here. Ooh. Ooh. It smells really good as well. So again, it's gonna prime my skin and moisturize it at the same time. So I'm gonna put about that much. I really don't think I need all that much at all. And I'm gonna work it in with my fingers. Wow, this is very moisturizing, very, very hydrating. And the more I work it in with my hands, it's kind of tacky to touch, which makes me really excited because for me, anytime a primer is tacky, I really feel like my foundation is going to stick and adhere to it all day long. So I am all about that. I'm just gonna take a little bit more and put it on my forehead. I'm gonna put this all over because I don't want my foundation going anywhere, if you know what I mean. Also, I know I'm super up close and personal. What is this? There's makeup on this jacket that's not even mine. Okay. That's as good as it's gonna get. Let's jump back into our scheduled programming, shall we? For primer, I'm gonna use a concealer. I'm gonna use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I had to pick up a new one of these because I was completely out of Shape Tape and I just never got around to repurchasing it. I am in the shade Light Neutral right here. It's 22N. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this to prime my eyelids. You really don't need a lot of this simply because it is very, very full coverage. So I'm just gonna take about a dot on each eye, blend it out, and then we're gonna jump into eyeshadow. Let's actually move on to eyeshadow. Now, my heart broke when I saw your Holy Grail makeup splurges. Like, I couldn't even believe it. I didn't even know your bank accounts were set up like this. Natasha Denona? The Biba 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 palette, like, girl, my heart hurts because this was so expensive. The retail value on this single eyeshadow palette is $125. I do really love the packaging. Let me just say that. I think it is so incredibly beautiful. It's very, very heavy, so it feels very high quality, very luxe. You get a full-size mirror here, which you guys know I love and appreciate. The color story on this palette is like no other. Well, let me stop lying. This is a very typical color story in a palette, but I really love the tones. I really love the shades. Like, it's a warm tone palette, but it's not like orange, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited to dive in. We'll see what it's all about. The very first shade I am going to pick up is a shade called Tusk. Tusk is a really pretty like bone colored shadow. I'm gonna take a little bit of it on an M441. Dust it right here on my brow bone and just a little bit into the crease. Nothing too crazy though. I really just want to create a very nice thin layer of shadow before I actually go in with my transitional shade, because I'm not entirely sure how this will work out for me. The next shade I'm going to take from the palette is called Freckles. So this one right here, it's a really pretty soft brown. And I'm going to use that same brush, an M441. And this here is going to be my transitional shade. I'm going to rock it from outer to inner corner. Super pigmented. I'm afraid I'm actually going to take an M441 that's a little bit more broken in. As you can see, this one's a lot more fluffy than this one. This one is a newer one. I like it when it's like this because I feel like it really just disperses the product a lot better. So I'm going in circular motions and I'm just kind of going to town, really buffing and blending that in. So it definitely goes on a lot darker than it looks in the pan, but it still is really, really pretty. And it's blending very, very nicely as well. The next shade I'm gonna take is a shade right here called Buff. I'm gonna take it on an M433 and I'm gonna start tapping it right here in the outer V. And then I'm lightly gonna flick it into the crease area just to define it out a little bit more, give it a little bit more definition. So I'm gonna continue taking that shade with that same M433 and I'm just gonna pack it all over my lid. So following that, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. It's called Cocoa. It's a little bit more of a deeper brown shade. And I'm gonna pick that up with like a flat brush and really just pack it all over the lid. Like I said, I'm thinking I wanna do more of like a deep brown smoky eye. I may add in just a little bit of shimmer, but it really just depends on how these shadows really lay on the lid. So I'm just gonna go in, really tap it, and really just intensify this lid shade. I'm switching over to an M433, and I'm gonna put this in my crease, and again, just go in and re-intensify. So it's gripping very, very weird, like right in here. Kind of strange, so I may have to go in with a shimmer just to kind of cover up these mattes because they're pulling very differently in certain areas, and definitely not a good look. So far, I really, really like the way it looks. It looks very deep, chocolatey, smoky. You get me? Okay, so let's actually go in with the next shade here. It's called Rayon. It is kind of like the shade called Cocoa, but it has a little bit more of a sheen to it. I think once I put this all over the lid, it's going to look really, really pretty. It's also going to give the lid a little bit of a sheen. I'm just taking it onto my finger and really just pressing it before I actually go in with a shimmer. If you guys have this palette at home, let me know how you guys feel about it. Like, have you tried Natasha Denona palettes? Are they on your wish list? Like, let me know all the deets. Okay, so adding the shade onto the lid definitely covered up the patchiness I was experiencing with some of the mattes. But again, it could just be the fact that I use concealer to prime my eyelids. Like, I've gotten into the habit of not using concealer to prime my eyelids because I feel like the shadows, the way that they lay, are never really consistent. So I switched over to using an actual eyeshadow primer and I've had no issues. But anytime I go in with concealer, it just gets patchy on me. I really like the way that that shadow looks. I love the way it laid on the lid, and it is a really, really beautiful and creamy formula. Kind of like almost like cream to powder, it feels like to touch. Now that we're here, I'm going to take a little bit of this bone colored shadow here called Tusk, and I'm going to put it on my brow bone. This is really just going to help blend a little bit of those browns downwards and give it more of a seamless blend. Now, I do still think I want to go in with like a little bit of that shimmer shade called Rustic, but I think I'm going to save that until I'm done with my base just to see how things are coming together. Whew, okay, so after adding that bone colored shadow, I will say the blend is looking really, really pretty. I definitely want to go in with a shade called Rustic, so Here we go. I have a little bit on my finger and I'm just gonna kind of pat it onto my eyelid, just like in the center. Nothing too crazy, honestly. I could probably even put this like even in the very like inner 1/3 of my lid, just because it's so subtle and it's not like overpowering at all. So I'm taking more of a flat brush and I'm just kind of dabbing it all over. I will say these shadows are really, really beautiful and really gorgeous. This would probably be a lot more like wham bam, like high shine in your face if I didn't lay that matte shade down first, but it's okay. I think it still is gorgeous. So let's talk eyeliner. There were two eyeliners in particular that kept coming up non-stop, and it was this one right here by Urban Decay. This is the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Perversion. I really, really love this one. It's super black, it's very matte, and it gives you enough playtime to really buff and blend it out before it completely dries down. And then this one kept coming up as well. This one is by Marc Jacobs. This is the Highliner Gel Eye Crayon in the shade Blacker. I'm gonna go in with this one. Again, same thing, same concept. It gives you enough playtime to really buff and blend it out before it completely dries down. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this right here alongside my lash line and then really buff and blend it out. So now that I have a little bit of that black laid down, I'm gonna take this shade right here. It's called Spot. It's kind of like a shimmery black, but it's not like a high shine, foiled black eyeshadow by any means. It kind of leans a little bit more satin now that I look at it. It gives you a little bit of a sheen. Very, very creamy. And I'm just gonna use this to intensify that black I put right in this area. Once I have that black down, I'm gonna switch over to an M507 and I'm just gonna run my brush alongside my lash line to really just smoke it out. You guys know I love a good like smoky liner. I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna wing it out. I think that is looking beautiful. Love that for us. Okay, let's continue on. Now that my liner is nice and smoked out, I'm gonna move on to lashes. But before I pop on falsies, I definitely wanna go in with mascara, and a top rated mascara that you guys all recommended was this one right here by NARS. This is the NARS Climax mascara. I have a little mini version. I wasn't gonna go out and buy a full size mascara simply because I already have so many in my collection. I do know how great this mascara is though. It is incredible. This is one of my top favorites alongside the Hourglass Caution mascara. So definitely a good pick by you guys. This is what the wand looks like. So fluffy, so thick, so big. That's what she said.
Oh my God, you so nasty.
I'm just gonna go in and really coat my lashes with mascara. One thing I like to do is I like to take the wand, put it at the base of my lash, and then just kind of wiggle it up. A foundation that I saw come up a lot is this one right here by Lancome. I have no idea how to pronounce it, so I'm not even gonna butcher it, but I'm really excited to give it a go, give it a whirl. It looks very, very luxe. I did go into Nordstrom and I had them color match me. It also comes with a pump. They did color match me to the shade 230 Buff W, which is more of a warm tone shade. So I'm gonna put some on the back of my hand and we're gonna go to town and blend this all the way out. Ooh, this actually looks like it is a really, really good color match for me. And the coverage, honey, you see these blemishes? 3, 2, 1. So full coverage, so full coverage. I love that. Also, side note, I know a lot of you are probably wondering what is going on with your hair. Okay, so you see what happened was I had the beaded weft extensions for about 4 to 5 weeks and I was over it and I decided that I wanted to get them out. So I sat down, I had Babito take them out.
You the real MVP.
And here we are, my hair is up in a bun. I'm kind of thinking I want to embrace my natural hair texture in 2019, 2020, because clearly My hair is not straightened, it's just in a bun. I do have a pretty, like, I wouldn't say like super curly texture, but I do have curly hair. And I'm thinking about just going natural. Laying off the heat, putting product in it, and hopefully I'll get my curls back. We'll see, because I've been straightening my hair for the past 8 years, so can I get them back is a real question. Not gonna lie, I feel like I look really Hispanic with my hair like this, like kind of wet, slicked back. Like, you see my little hair right here?
Where?
I don't know what to do. I really love this foundation though. It looks so good on my skin. I swear, you guys never fail me with these videos, like these challenges, I guess you can say. Like, last video I did like this was me testing out your Holy Grail drugstore products, and you guys recommended the Fresh Wear Foundation by L'Oreal, and that foundation is incredible. This one is no exception. It looks so freaking good. The coverage is unreal too, and the girl at Nordstrom did a really awesome job color matching me. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so final verdict on the foundation. I really like it. I love the formula, the consistency. I love that it feels very lightweight on the skin, and it doesn't feel heavy or cakey or anything like that. So thank you for the recommendation. 10 out of 10. Let's actually move on to kind of like a liquid highlighter. A lot of you recommended this. This is the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. I have mine in the shade 4 medium. What I actually like to do with this is I like to take just a little bit and I'll just pop it right here on the highest points of my cheekbones to give me a little bit of glow. Normally I'll go in with this underneath foundation, but I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I kind of forgot, but it's okay. We can do it now. I'm gonna take that sponge and just really blend it out. All right, so now that we have that glow going on, let's actually move on to concealer. A concealer that came up a ton was this one right here by Tarte. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. The shade I'm using today is Light Neutral. Oh, such an iconic concealer. I remember when this first came out, this was all anyone would talk about. I'm gonna take just a little bit right here. I actually had to pick up a restock of this because I completely ran out, and I just never went back and repurchased it just because there are so many different concealers on the market. But I'm so glad I went out and picked it up again and that you guys reminded me of it because it is such a great formula. Now that my concealer is nice and blended out, I'm gonna go in with powder. Now, originally I was gonna go in with a loose powder, and a loose powder that you guys love as a makeup splurge is this brand new one right here by Urban Decay. This is the Urban Decay One and Done Ultimate Brush Off Set and Go Loose Powder. This one is incredible. I really love it, but since I did already apply a little bit of that Flawless filter right here on the highest points of my cheekbone, I don't want all that loose powder to go in and completely cover up all the work I already did. So I'm gonna go in with a pressed powder. I was gonna say loose, but I'm gonna go in with a pressed powder, and a pressed powder that you guys love is this one right here by Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in the shade 1. I use shade 1 underneath my eyes to really just set, and then I also have shade 2, which is slightly deeper, and I like to use this all over my face to really set things down. This powder here is so finely milled. It's so beautiful underneath the eyes. It's beautiful all over the face. I know why it's your favorite. I know why it's my favorite. It's just incredible. Now, for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, I highly recommend that you guys check out my page because that's where I post a lot of my polls and I host a lot of these questions for these videos. So if you ever want your favorite products to be included, like in my next one, make sure you follow me, watch my stories because they pop up here and there. Moving on, let's actually talk about bronzer. A bronzer that you guys love is this bronzer duo right here by Jouer. It was either this one by Jouer or the Omega bronzer by Marc Jacobs. I decided to go in with this one just because this video was getting crazy expensive, not gonna lie. So I decided to just use this since I already have it in my collection and you guys recommended it. This here is in the shade Sunlight and Suntan. It is the lighter of the two. I'm gonna take it on this brush right here, which is a collaboration with Nabella and e.l.f. And I'm just gonna lightly add some color back into my skin. Just dust it right into my hairline. And what I like about this bronzer is that it is really buildable. I swear when I was filming this video, A lot of things that kept popping up was like Jouer, Marc Jacobs, Dior, Lancome, Laura Mercier. I was like, holy crap. You guys have expensive taste. Look at that definition, like such great definition that added to my face. Let's move on to highlighter. A highlighter that you guys love is this one right here by Dior. This is the Nude Air Illuminizer. I did have one in my collection already, so lucky me. This one is in the shade 003. This one is so incredibly beautiful. I'm going to take my brush and just dust it right here directly over top of the Flawless Finish filter. I'm telling you guys, anytime I wear this highlighter, I always get loads and loads of compliments. It's insanely beautiful. I do like to focus a lot of it right here on the apples of my cheeks. So just like, okay, so let's go in with blush. Now, a blush that came up over and over and over again are Hourglass blushes in general. So I decided to pick this up. This is brand new. This is the Ambient Lighting Blush Quad. And this was a pretty penny. Y'all broke the bank. Like, you really, really did. I don't know if my bank account is going to recover anytime soon after all of these purchases, but I'm hoping this is worth it. The packaging is super sleek and chic. Oh, do you see me? Big head in the frame. Okay. But it does come with 4 different blushes here. So we have some pinks and peaches. I think we can make something work. Actually, I know we can make something work. I'm gonna mix this shade in with a little bit of this pink. So do a little cocktail and I'm gonna smile and dust this onto my cheeks. Oh, I don't think I've ever tried out Hourglass blushes, so this is a first. Okay, I knew my Slay Bays would never steer me wrong. Never. Let's finish off my lower lash line before we move on. I'm gonna take the shade right here called Buff on a flat definer brush, and I'm just gonna push this closest to my lower lash line and just kind of connect it with the rest of the look. And the last thing I'm gonna do for shadows, I'm gonna pick up this shade right here called Monroe on a pencil brush, and I'm gonna use that as my inner corner highlight to really just set things off. So let's actually finish things off with the lips. Now, a lip liner I saw a ton was m.a.c Whirl, which is an oldie but a goodie for me. I haven't used this in so long, and I'm glad that you guys brought it back to my attention just so that way I could use it in today's video. I am gonna use this to line my lips and fill them in completely. And another product you guys kept recommending over and over is this one right here by Dior. This is a lip maximizer. It's a hyaluronic lip plumper in the shade 013. And this right here is the final and completed look. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comments. I know it's kind of like your typical brown smoky eye, but I had a lot of fun creating this look because I got to use your Holy Grail makeup splurges, and I really got to know what you guys like as opposed to me just trying out what I like every single day. One thing I will say is that I came across some products that I really, really like that I actually didn't think I was gonna like. One of which being this palette right here by Natasha Denona. Not to say I don't like Natasha Denona shadow palettes. I do think they're very, very pricey, and half of the time the color stories to me aren't really worth the money. But after picking up this palette, I can definitely see why a lot of you splurge on this palette. It's very, very beautiful. It's neutral. You have a mixture between your cool tones and also your warm tones, but warm tones in a sense where they're wearable, they're neutral, and they're not orange. Oftentimes I feel like there's not really a good balance between warm tone eyeshadow palettes and shadow palettes that are wearable because oftentimes they pull way too orange, but this one definitely is not the case. Like, I love it. I love everything about it. The pigmentation, the color story, the blendability, it is totally there, and I can see why you guys splurge on this palette. $125 expensive, but worth it. Moving on, let's actually talk about the Hourglass blush palette. This is another product that I did not think I was going to love, but I really, really, really love the formula of this blush palette. It's not too pigmented in a sense where you have to go in with a really, really light hand. You can definitely pick up a little bit, build it up, and it also gives you more of like a luminous glow to the skin. So really, really beautiful. I love the way it looks on the skin. Another product I really, really loved in today's video is this one right here by Lancome. I did not think I was gonna love this as much as I do. It's very, very thin on the skin, but full coverage at the same time. So it doesn't feel heavy or cakey at all whatsoever. All I have to say is I have to take makeup recommendations from you guys on a daily because you guys are recommending some really, really awesome products that I'm just not disappointed with. So thank you guys so much. I will have asterisks next to each and every single product that I know, love, and will recommend a million times over down below in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. And with that, I don't think I have much else to say except I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.